What's your favorite type of chili?
What's my favorite type of chili? My chili? My chili's amazing. Some Fritos, sour cream, a little cheese, maybe some good old homemade bread with it. All right, can I open up the box?
No, read the card first.
Happiness. So are we gonna get a little philosophical today and like talk about happiness and like how to search for happiness and like what is happiness? Happiness to me is a nice warm sweater, a white table, a black background, a great team, a gray box. Happiness to these guys could be getting out of the studio.
Might want to shoot a little higher.
Happiness is undoubtedly a gemstone, especially a gemstone from JTV. A gemstone from JTV that JTV lets me have. I don't know, guys. Like, what does happiness mean to you? You want to talk about it? What do you guys think? Or should I just open up the box? Okay. Oh, yes. What did I do to earn this? Who got this? Thank you, Christopher. Happiness is M&Ms and guests and gemstones.
Can you throw a few in
I just smacked myself in the tooth.
Throw it up. It's mine.
Okay.
Hey, So I'm gonna just eat these M&Ms, and Christopher's gonna talk to you about gemstones today, and then we'll be done. Cool?
Perfect.
Cool. Let's do this. My front tooth hurts.
You pitched it in there.
There's either a bigger box of M&Ms in here, and since the price that you've already paid your price of admission, it's either jewelry or candy. All right, 3, 2, 1. This happens sometimes. People like to punk me.
I don't know what you're talking about. Why would someone do that to you?
I get punked all the time on this
awful.
channel. Oh, here we go again. See, I'm not even surprised anymore. It's happened so many times on this channel. It's just one box after another box. Okay, that's not edible.
Well, you wanted to talk about silicates, right?
No, it says do not eat.
Well,
throw
don't
away?
eat that.
It says throw away, so let's just chuck it. There we go.
But it's a silica. You want to
Silica.
talk
All
about
right, so
silica.
let's tell me what a silica is.
So a silicate,
Comes right back. We're in the studio that throws things right back at you.
what we're going to talk about today is this one.
What do you think, like, sugar and blue one lake and yellow 6 lake are?
Not minerals. I've lost her to the candy folks.
This is your own fault.
I am totally to blame.
Gum acacia? I don't know how to say
I've got
that.
a gem over here. What I've got for you here today is Andalusite, not Candalusite, Andalusite.
Andalusite was first discovered in Spain. Andalusia?
This one is not from Spain, though. This one is from Brazil. You're looking at a orthorhombic stone. Some of the others.
Pause. Okay, so orthorhombic, guys, that is a crystal system. Elizabeth and I covered the cubic crystal system, so check out that video. We always like to do crystal systems. I think we always like to talk about crystal systems. I think it's interesting. So orthorhombic, can you give me a couple examples of other orthorhombic stones?
Yes,
I
Tanzanite.
feel like I'm gonna open that up and start eating it.
So Tanzanite is one of the more well-known, as well as Topaz. Topaz is an extremely well-known
Topaz?
orthorhombic stone. And Tanzanite, like Andalusite, is trichroic. You can see 3 different colors depending on the direction in which you look at the stone.
Technically, it is pleochroic, but
Yes.
because you're gonna see 3, it's trichroic.
And you can see there, and we'll show the camera here in a minute, but you can see
Hand it
the
up to the
colors
camera.
there.
See, I don't even have to work right now. Christopher knows what to do.
If you can
Closer
see
look.
how the light is. You've got the green, and then you have more of a red direction when you look at it this way.
Oh, wait, so what kind of we're talking about, like yellows, reds, and greens,
Yeah.
kind of like the M&M?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that, but that actually fits in. Everything eventually relates back to gems. That's the truth. So if you can see it well here, you've got the more green direction here, but when you turn it in this direction, you're seeing a lot more red. One of the things that Andalusite is referred to as, which is a misnomer.
Poor man's Alexandrite.
Exactly.
Alexandrite is chrysoberyl, guys.
Yeah, and this isn't related at all, but because the appearance shifts between red and green in different directions, similar to the color change in alexandrite, which is changing because of a difference in the light.
We should talk about that though. So Andalusite is pleochroic. That is not a phenomenon. I would call it an optical property.
Exactly.
A property. So color change is a phenomenon that makes alexandrite a phenomenal stone. I think Andalusite is a phenomenal stone too, but not in that way. It does not have a phenomenon. It is an optical property. There's tons of optical properties that we've talked about on this show.
This one, I'll show you a bigger picture of it since it is kind of tiny to see here. We do have a larger picture. It's a difficult stone to find these days in any significant size. Different mines produce different sizes of crystals, and so the current production is actually much smaller stones in general, and that's usually what we've had. This one is actually a pretty decent size of rough. We got a great picture of it for this gemology reference, and our photographer did an amazing job of catching all of the colors together. So you can see the yellow, you can see the reddish brown, and you can see the green all in one direction because the piece of rough itself is curved, so the light is all reflecting around inside it, and that's why you can see it in one direction.
Okay, so what's awesome about Andalusite, you know, for those of you who maybe have trouble making decisions, you know, sometimes I can't decide what gemstone I like, you really don't have to decide because you can I mean, I see green right here, I see like an orangey yellow right there. I mean, you don't really get 3 gemstones in one, but you can get 3 looks.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yeah, and one of the things you can see, this is again a piece of rough, and what we mean by a piece of rough as opposed to a mineral specimen or a crystal is usually referred to as euhedral if it has a very, very nice crystal shape. It's intact. It's actually followed its growth to its termination. When there's damage or you just have a broken piece of that, that's usually what we call rough. In this case, you can actually see part of the crystal structure because you can tell that it's longer in one direction than the other.
Yeah.
That's a habit of the orthorhombic crystal system. It's going to be longer in one direction than the other, as opposed to the cubic, which you talked about, which is the same length in each direction. Well, you can see in the flatter direction here, it's actually more green. So it's green in this direction, and you're most likely going to get the most yield out of the gemstone. So you can cut a larger green gemstone out of this piece. However, the more valuable color is the red, but if you go with a more valuable color, you get a significantly smaller gem. So you might be able to cut 1 or 2 small red gems or 1 really big green one. And typically, since gemstones are usually sold on weight as well as quality, they're probably going to go with a larger green. So finding the more red color ones is actually more rare and therefore more valuable in the gems.
We've got another box. I'm gonna open it up.
How many boxes do you think are in this one?
Probably 8.
I've got to outdo this next time.
Okay. Oh, this means I need to be careful.
Yes.
Oh, Espírito Santo.
Yeah.
Andalusite. Okay, this is from Brazil, so obviously I'm gonna fall in love with it because I love everything Brazilian. Espírito Santo, I was supposed to go there. I think it's famous for its beach. Yep. So beaches, Brazil, gemstones. What gets better? Tell us why this crystal is on the show today.
So this crystal is in the show because the first piece that I showed you, I looked for a nice piece for the book for about 2 or 3 years. And since we published the book about a year or 2 ago, I've continued looking for a nice crystal of Andalusite. They're very, very few and far between. So it has taken me 5 years just to find this piece. And so, you know, hopefully I'll get to use it at a later date for a publication because it's really beautiful. I found this at one of the Denver Fine Mineral shows, and it was in the case, and there were many, many other more expensive and rare and, you know, very exotic crystals. I think the gentleman who was running that particular display was a little happy that I zoomed in on this one because I recognized how rare it was to find a crystal of this quality. This is actually a prized piece in my collection now. This was on my list of must-haves for my collection, was a really, really nice crystal of Andalusite. And of course you can see the shape from the top.
That's
you
pretty
can
neat.
see where it's shorter in both the A and B axes, which are the ones that go across. The C axis is the direction in which the crystal grows, and you can see it's much longer in the C
Stuff is
axis.
so tough. That stuff
It
can
is.
be really tough to learn.
But it's one of the things that really helps you with identifying the crystals because you'll see if you look at Andalusite long enough that the vast majority of them are not gem quality. So you get a lot of crystals that are just opaque, and if you can't really tell the color, shape is one of the things you have
So
to go
tell
on.
us what you mean by gem quality, just because I always want to be doing. I love definitions. They're
Yeah.
favorite part of the show.
Gem quality typically is going to be just, attractive enough either in color or in quality, basically, to be faceted into a gem. Because one of the things that we really think of as a gem is not just the fact that you can wear it in jewelry, but that it has beauty, that it has rarity, that it has a quality that makes it, something that people desire.
Okay, so Andalusite's important. It's from. We can find it in Spain and Brazil. Where else?
You can find it in a few other locations, but those are the ones that are primary. And Brazil is really the primary location right now where you're going to find gem quality Brazil or gem quality Andalusite that's available to be mined and fashioned.
Remind me the Mohs.
Mohs on this, I want to say, is about 6.5 to 7.5.
yeah.
One of the reasons that's important for a gem as well, durability is a factor. You may hear a lot of the times that we'll talk about whether or not a piece is suitable for wear in rings or in pendants or in earrings. Well, part of the reason for that is quartz. Vast majority of the dust in the air is actually composed of quartz. Quartz has a hardness of 7, so if you're wearing a ring and you're wearing it daily, you're eventually going to, washing your hands, rubbing your hands, or putting your hand in your pocket, you're going to rub
Right.
up. That quartz dust is eventually going to abrade the stone and cause it to need to be repolished. However, if the stone is harder than quartz, then it's suitable for daily wear in a ring because it's not going to have that sort of wear. If it's softer, you wear it in a pendant and an earring, it's not going to brush up against things as much, and it's easy to wear them daily in that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this one is a very good choice for rings, pendants, or earrings, and especially with the color spectrum that it has, it's a great fall stone.
Okay, so what other stones could Andalusite be mistaken for?
Well, again, Alexandrite is one that,
Poor man's Alexandrite.
Poor man's Alexandrite. You sometimes get that overlapping color in Topaz because you can have Topaz with that shade of kind of the reddish brown,
trippy.
and it has the same crystal structure.
can see,
and
the
you can
red.
find it in Brazil. So
Trippy.
it's really, really cool.
I can see the red.
You can see it change as it goes around. Yeah. There's also another form of it.
I know what you're talking about.
Do you know what
Do
I'm
you
talking
remember
about?
Do you remember the issue with the stone?
I do.
It's not chiastolite. It's not chiastolite. It's chiastolite. And I have said that wrong on multiple occasions because I can read really well. I can't always speak really well.
It's
you
one
wanna
of
talk
those
about it for us?
I have to look up those all the time.
Do you wanna tell
we
our-
need something to look at. Though.
Oh my gosh.
So here comes the next one. So again, it's pretty durable, otherwise we wouldn't do it.
Are we saying chiastolite?
Chiastolite.
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 Chi. Okay, I
Chiastolite.
finally can say it right.
So do you know why it is chiastolite?
Christ?
No.
Because the cross, I know that there's religious symbolism.
It's Greek.
It's Greek.
And
okay.
in the Greek alphabet, the letter chi is the letter X.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that.
So it's chiastolite.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's some religious significance to it.
Yeah, because it was worn to
cross.
represent the cross. What's interesting with this, you may have talked on the show on occasion about trapezies.
Right? I love
So
those.
this is a similar formation. So what happened was you had this basically carbonaceous material, basically a rock that has a lot of carbon content to it, in the crystal structure when it started forming, and it radiated out and segmented it off into these sections, which is what's forming the cross. You get this just really, really cool look. You can see actually there's even a little sheen.
Yeah, that's so cool.
This particular stone, Andalusite, chiastolite, forms as part of a metamorphic process. A metamorphic process is a process whereby the Earth is in motion, and that heat and friction caused by it can actually alter pre-existing minerals and elements into new minerals and elements.
So do you just want to finish the episode for me?
So not only is Andalusite trichroic, it's also trimorphous. It has the same chemistry as 2 other gemstones.
Oh, and
Do you remember those?
No, I don't. But
They're
I know
pretty
what
obscure.
I know what trimorphic means. I just
Yeah.
don't remember the other two.
So the other 2 are kyanite and sillimanite.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen both of those.
And so I've got an example here of that. Let's see, I think I've got one over here.
We're just full of presents today.
You kind of get to unbox this one. Look at this one.
Okay, now I can pull them apart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen these before.
So this one is a find at the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. I just absolutely, totally geeked out over this one because this actually shows the formation of chiastolite. And so what you have in the metamorphic process with chiastolite is you have literally just a giant pile of mud, like incredible, like mountain-sized pile of mud. And over time, the weight of itself pushes down on the lower bed and converts into shale. The shale eventually converts into schist, and the heat and pressure form different minerals. You have sillimanite forms at one level, and Andalusite forms at another level, and kyanite at yet another level, and that is why they have the same chemical formula. You're actually forming in the same geographic region as far as what it's composed of, but different temperatures and different pressures.
Take a look at that, guys. Pretty cool, huh?
And if you flip it around, you can actually see the layers. This is what I love about this
Oh,
piece.
yeah,
On the
right
back,
there.
you can see the layers of mud that formed over the
You
aeons.
can see little
Yeah.
baby chiastolites right there.
And you've got little, you can even see like these little bright areas are also where things were in the process of metamorphosing into other minerals.
I think that's so cool.
And now this is a much slower process. I don't know if we've talked about it before on the ruby and sapphire. Ruby and sapphire, it's a much greater pressure, much greater heat. It's where you have continents colliding. That's why you have a lot of them in the Himalayas. You've got a massive amount of heat and pressure occurring where those continents are hitting each other. This is lower temperature, lower pressure because it's all just sitting there compacting on itself. But really neat. I don't know how in the world they knew to slice that right where they did.
That's what I was just wondering.
That just blew my mind that was just a really lucky find.
They look like little flower petals, don't they?
And you can also see, because in this case, the carbonaceous material that formed the cross here, you can see very nicely mimics the shape
you're right.
of the
You
orthorhombic
can.
crystal.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Love
so
this
we're going to have
piece.
to cover crystal systems, and we're going to have to cover orthorhombic, and I know I've been saying we need to do triclinic as well.
Yeah.
Trigonal.
Trigonal. Triclinic is another one. Monoclinic.
We've
There's
done
a
all
lot of
those,
different ones. Yeah. And there's another habit that it's called dipyramidal. So not only does it form these nice little crystals, but you can see it with this one.
Okay, guys, we just keep... Anyone ever seen Mary Poppins? Christopher just keeps pulling stuff out.
So
We don't
this
know
is
what else we
another
have.
formation. This one's actually from Massachusetts. So you can even
Never
find
been
it in the US. This is a very
What is
unusual
that?
piece.
Show me.
It's another chiastolite.
That's really cool.
But you can see how it started forming a termination up this direction. It also would have formed a termination down this
Okay,
direction,
tell everyone what a
which is
termination
why that's where the crystal grows to its completion.
Okay.
And so it was growing in a kind of a pyramid in this way, and it would have also echoed that in the other direction, and that's dipyramidal. And
right.
that's what I have to say about Andalusite
Is that
today.
all you have? Are you sure, Christopher Poppins?
I don't know. Do you like shiny stuff at all?
I mean, yeah, I'll eat.
I don't know. I might have something. Did I leave another box over there somewhere?
Is there anything in this
Is
box?
that? I don't know. No.
We have a plate.
Yep.
Am I like doing surgery or something on this
Well,
stuff?
I've seen you, I watch the videos and everything, and you always have to come out here and you work so hard. I figured
I
it
do.
might be nice for you to have a little playtime. So go ahead and put those out and
Oh, this is fun,
see
guys.
what you like there.
Actually, one of my first jobs here at Jewelry Television, it was awesome, was sorting gemstones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much fun. You used to do this too, didn't you?
yeah, that one's one of my favorites.
Okay, so this is, can we take a look at that? I'm gonna pull that up on a different camera. All right, guys, this is all one gemstone. I think it's so cool how you can see all the different colors and we have different shapes. The reason you see all those different colors is because this is I don't want to say severely pleochroic, but it is
strongly.
strongly is a better word. It is strongly pleochroic.
And you can see the different axes upon which the stones were cut, like the one you've got there. That was perfect. So you see it's green face up, but when you start tilting it off of perfectly face up, you see the red like immediately. And that's why, if you don't know what you're looking at, you can think that you're seeing color change when you're actually seeing pleochorism. But that, like if you saw that in alexandrite, that would be top quality alexandrite. Now these actually, these are pretty rare size-wise. I'll show you with the majority of the material we get right
just
now.
Looks like the gemstone version of fall.
This would actually be a decent sized Andalusite for what is typically produced now. The nice thing about Andalusite as well is like you're showing it in motion there, it's going to do that on your hand or on a piece of jewelry like a pendant as well. As people move around you and as your hands move, they're going to see those different colors, and that's one of the really fun things about wearing Andalusite.
I love it. I'm thinking we should do a closer look. Christopher, pick one of these to do a closer look because you're a guest and you brought me M&Ms, so I will let you do the...
I want to show this one.
Okay.
This one is just
fold it up
very
and say what
common.
you would like everyone to take a closer look at.
So again, take a close look at the crystal structure on this one and just how nicely formed it is, because you're not likely to see very many of these around.
I want you all to take a closer look at the parcel. I think the gold tweezers and then the beautiful stone, I mean, I just think I could look at that all day. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you learned about Andalusite. Big thank you to Christopher. He always brings loads of presents. I'm always surprised. Today I'm well fed.
Yes.
You know, I got some M&Ms. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and always don't forget to leave us your comments and any questions that you have. Christopher and I are always looking at the channel and love when we hear from our fellow gem nerds.